290 slides plus a live demo, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to go quick and fast, and you're going to learn a lot, and it's probably something a little different than what you've ever seen. And we'll get started here as soon as it hits 3. As we get going, I want to know, kind of gauge the crowd, how many here is their first SaintCon? Woo! All right, that's pretty good. How many here love the outdoors? Well, that's good. Yes, that's good. You'll love this talk then. How many here like to fish? Yeah. How many here got into security through the other channels, like being a help desk person or working IT, right? Okay. So you love that. All right. So it's 3 o'clock. I'm going to get going, and we'll have fun with this here. So, welcome to Phishing, Adventures in Chasing Slimy Creatures. Let me go through some of the disclaimers. This is for yada, yada, yada. There, you had plenty of time to read that, right? Don't break the law, words of my own. Be cool about it. I'm going to talk about some things that aren't kosher, but most of it is really fun and good. Okay, who is this joker? My name is Wayne Crowder. CIS, GCIE, GCFA. I've given this talk at Trixie, which is a local competition where I live, B-Sides Las Vegas, and at DEF CON Wall of Sheep. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm honored to give it here. And thank you to Risk Analytics for making that possible. As the asterisk shows, there will be plenty of TMI to follow about me, so be prepared for that. I am from Alaska originally. I grew up in Alaska, and when people think of Alaska, they think, oh man, it must be cold up there. And sometimes it is. For those of you that work up at USU, it's actually colder there in the winter than it is or was where I grew up in the state of Alaska. But when it's cold and it's wintertime, there's not a lot of fishing going on. So you watch a guy like this, Bill Dance, right? Some of you may be familiar with Bill Dance. You see him doing his fishing shows. He parlayed a fishing career into a fishing show where he got to fish all day long. And he has some antics that are always fun on YouTube videos and different things. These are the gifs of that where he's done some crazy things, right? Some of you may have had your first fishing experience with one of these, right? Or you have one at home right now with your kids. I didn't know that the Globetrotters fished. It's kind of crazy to me that there they are fishing, right? Some of you may have had your first experience fishing Sega bass fishing, right? It's a fun game. Some of you probably had your first experience with a loved one, grandma, grandpa, family member, uncle. Some of the women in the crowd probably did the same thing, had that wonderful experience, and they maybe have passed it on. Some of you maybe have courted your loved one through a delicious bass, right? This is clearly true. When you clean a fish, it's a great first date. It worked for me. Beautiful, beautiful bride there. This was actually a picture of my wife, this slide at one point, and she got really upset that I was doing this on a national at conferences, and she's like, you need to take that out. So then I put this in, and so there you go. This is actually a real photo, and it's kind of crazy. There'll be more of this to follow. I call this fish porn, so be prepared. Some of you may have fished in your hotel last night. Those of you staying at the Ben Lomond, this is what we were doing in my hotel room last night. Some of you might not be able to go fishing because you always drop the bass. Sorry. So, let me get back to why I'm here. Fishing has reached Major League, okay? There is a show on TV called Major League Fishing. Guys like this make a lot of money by driving boats and attracting crowds like this. I mean, these are shots from different tournaments. These are guys going through a lock, right? This is a guy driving a boat sideways, okay? We'll come back to that later. They make a lot of money. This is for a winner of a competition, $100,000, $125,000. That's $1 million right there. Okay, there's people that make a living doing this. So this is a stadium, kind of like where the Jazz play, filled with people to watch these guys weigh in fish and win that kind of prize money. I know it's crazy. I see some of you guys going, really? Yes. This is an actual shot. I've been to both of those venues. So they want to win the trophy, right? Ah, look at how happy he is. Well, here's the TMI moment. For me, this was me many years ago here in Utah. I was known as the big fish, Mr. Bass, right? Ken Garff Nissan of Orem. How many of you here bought a car from Ken Garff Nissan of Orem? Yeah, clearly my campaign worked. We have one person. So this was on a billboard in I-15, Utah County. I had a little bit of a rap there. That was me hugging myself in the service area. How you doing there, evil twin? Right? So Sportsman's Warehouse was one of my sponsors, and it was a lot of fun. I got to do the same thing, hold up my fish. You don't notice there's not going to be a big check-in here holding up, but this is Jordanelle Reservoir. This is a fish I caught just before leaving the state a few years back. This is Strawberry Reservoir. This is the Amazon. That kind of job took me to wonderful places like the Amazon. I caught this crocodile and a bunch of other crazy fish, but I thought this was kind of interesting. I won my trophy, right? I won a divisional tournament for an area. My big trophy, same thing. And I kissed a lot of fish and made my own fishing porn, right? More to follow. So, something happened that changed. Something did happen. How many of you here had this on the new Windows 10 setup, right? Something happened. Autism happened in my life, okay? Autism. Up until that point, the only opportunity or knowledge I'd had of autism is a charity event I used to do, which was called Cast for Kids, Catch a Special Thrill. And you would take out special needs kids and a parent or parents, their loved ones, and it would be kind of the first time they'd gone out and done something and gone fishing, and you would donate your time and boat to basically take them out. And I remember one year I took out a kid who seemed pretty normal to me, but he was autistic. Well, for me, I had a son diagnosed with autism, and that was a life changer. I had to change the job priority, right? So I was working technical support by day, moonlighting as a pro fisherman by weekend / night, / driving all night to venues, and it just wasn't really working out for me. I didn't know if I could keep pro fishing. So I heard that one of the passions I loved was security, but I could never get into it. And I heard there was job security and security, right? And I was told there would be a red stapler with my job security, right? So I ended up in Kansas City with a company that hired me on. I got to be full-time instead of that multi-hat guy, the part-time security guy, and I got to do nothing but full-time security. And while I was working security, it was interesting because I found out, and I love this slide, I found out that pro fishing has a lot of similarities with InfoSec and being a security analyst. And if you can read that, I don't know if you can read that, it says, have a nice weekend, InfoSec pros. Don't think too hard about how your entire existence is ultimately futile. All right? So, some of you might be saying, are you serious? Yes, I am. Let me explain. Okay? So, this is a lure, and if anyone knows the name of this lure, I will hook you up with the best swag here. I didn't even know the name of this lure, so don't feel bad. This lure is named Moxie. And does anyone know who Moxie marlinspike is? Yeah, this is Moxie marlinspike spearfishing. And clearly, he loves to fish. This is a censored image of him cutting open a fish from one of his videos, okay? Actually, I took us on the rails there, kind of sideways, sorry about that, but I will get serious. Let's go back to how they're similar, yet different, okay? Pro fishing, a lot of analysis. InfoSec, a lot of analysis, okay? Let's start with training. This is one of the ways that they're similar. How many here have been to a SANS training? Right? Or hope to go to a SANS training, but their managers are like, 5 what? I'm sorry, 6,000 what? This is me at a SANS training this year. I'm going to take my GREM test here pretty soon, reverse engine malware. Oh, my fingers crossed on that one, right? This is the SANS of fishing, the Bass University, right? They pay pros to come in and teach them all the techniques, just like SANS. Hey, this is how you catch a fish, these are the things you do. So training is also one of those parallels, okay? You need to get those serious analysis skills through Bass University or SANS, okay? Research. Research is something that, it's something that really, in a lot of ways, can't be taught. You either kind of have the knack or you don't. You look at things and you analyze it, or you're just like, I don't know, what do you see there, right? But for some of us, and many of us, research is also Google. They're our best friend, right? That's the same for fishing, okay? That's the same for analysts. Here's some research where you're going to look at maps. Some of you may have a SOC, or some of you may have some software that lets you kind of look at some maps and decide, wow, look at all the telnet, look at all the HTTP traffic, look at all this different traffic, and you're analyzing this. As a fisherman, this is a map that you can download or purchase that's going to tell you different areas that may be good for fishing. And you're going to analyze that, right? You're going to do your research. You're going to get those maps. You're going to see what's going on. But nothing beats time on the water. Okay? Nothing beats time on the water when it comes to research and analysis. And that can go the same for any of you that have been security analysts for a while. You'll probably see when you get a new guy who's super anxious, there's just stuff you can't really train or teach. They just need to be in the trenches for a while, right? The same with fishing. You can spend all the time you want researching, doing everything you need, but time on the water beats it. Same with security analysis. This is the obligatory Star Wars analysis slide I had to throw in because it's an infosec, right? This is Darth Vader analyzing his clone. So, one thing that infosec pros do is spend a lot of time looking at data like this. But we need some context. We need some situational awareness of what are we looking at. In phishing, same deal. You're going to look at data like this. Maybe you've learned that you're going to go on a lake, a stream, a reservoir, and here's some of the areas you could go to, but we need to learn, hey, this is fall and winter. Things are going to be a little bit different. Here's some data that comes in. This may be something you get handed from a manager. It says, hey, I was given this by some division, some other university, some other, maybe the FBI dropped in, and you need context. You need awareness. Is this fall? Is this winter? Is this last week? What's going on here? Does anybody know what this is, just by looking at it? I know some of you may use it. This is a printout of CIF, the CIF server output. If you want to know what that is afterwards, we'll talk, okay? Here's another one about a stream. Some of you like to fish streams, go fly fish, or just general fishing. Here's the different areas, okay? Some of the awareness you do. The big picture. Analysts, whether for fishing or security, they need to understand the big picture. This is actually a real photo of some very famous guy in Europe because they love to carp fish, and he caught this monster fish. It's not photoshopped according to the internet, and the internet never lies, so there you go. But to understand the big picture, you need to understand perspective, okay? The perspective. What's the big picture here? Clearly, this user's desktop has some serious problems. I do miss Bonsai Buddy quite a bit, right? Yeah. So, those are some serious toolbars on a browser. Right here, the big picture for InfoSec professionals, stop or catch all the bad guys, okay? For fishermen, it's all about catching all the fish, okay? A little bit of similarities there. Shiny things. Why shiny things? Well, some of you may have been sold or are being told that you need a shiny thing like this to protect you from bad guys, right? Fishermen are sold or told they need a shiny thing like this or like this. Oh, that's so beautiful, right? It looks just like that fish to be able to catch their fish. Shut up and take my money, okay? Some of you may have managers that are like, oh yeah, that guy, that's awesome, we need to buy that, right? It's shiny, it's new, okay? Another similarity, right? Sometimes things are developed, whether they're lures or technology, to catch us, not really the bad guys, right? So, it's no coincidence there was a company up until the merger that finalized this summer called what? Anybody tell me what this logo was for? Fishnet, right? I know, it's a stretch. It's a stretch. Fishnet, okay? Points. Analysts, InfoSec people, they love points. So do fishermen. Here's some points. If you're looking at this, if I hand this to somebody who's working on an incident, this clearly something happened on the 17th of February that changed activity on the 18th of February. This is a graph from some of our technology at Risk Analytics. And you can see the different points that happen throughout the day. Okay? Curious stuff. Points, they matter. For fishermen, they pay for this Fishity program to tell them that, hey, there might be fish on this point. Seems kind of obvious, but they still do it, right? It's a point. T-shirts. Okay? Anyone have this T-shirt? It's very true. Okay? I wish I had one of these giveaway, but T-shirts. Here, I have t-shirts with, everybody wants to get a shirt for St. Con. I see you guys wearing them, things like that. Fishermen, it's the same thing. Man, shirts are like the badge of honor, right? One day they'll name a lure after me. Okay? Same deal. You'll see bass or trout or different things. Hey, look, you got hack naked and fish naked. I don't think you could find much more similarity, right? So, what is this? Anybody tell me what this would represent? Does anyone know what this is, by the way? Patterns. Patterns are very important for security analysts and InfoSec professionals. If you're not baselining your network, and you're not seeing patterns that are consistent or patterns that are changing, it's going to be hard to find out the bad things that are going on or know the good things that are normal. For fishermen, same thing. You got to know patterns. Okay? This, you're looking at a bank, what's the pattern? Is the pattern the submerged tree? Is the pattern the grass out from the edge of it? Is the pattern the point off to the side there? You never know, but let's go back to our chart we purchased, and it suggests vegetation, right? That's the pattern going on that time of year. Here's a pattern for some of you that may have to look through logs. Can anyone see the pattern here? You might be too far back, but yeah, there's clearly a pattern here. A WordPress vulnerability, that's the pattern. We go back, we can maybe point it out, /wp/wp-login.php, okay? More patterns. Stickers. How many of you have stickers on your laptops? Yes, yes. Stickers. Stickers are huge in our industry. People will, we were talking about this the other day. It might be a time on Antiques Roadshow where somebody's going to show some stickers they got from some like original DEF CON conference or something. Like, oh, wow. The guy will get all excited and talk about how much to insure those stickers for, right? These are fishing stickers. This is from a guy up in Alaska, upset about some of the things that are happening to one of his fishing waters, right? This is a boat, just like the boat I used to have, that is wrapped in a giant sticker, right? The big giant vinyl covering, okay? Stickers are important for both industries. Does anyone know what this is? Excellent. Okay, close. I love the involvement here. This one was a tough one to get an image for, so I had to put this in. You're the first person out of all the talks I've given that has at least got that. The HTC desire. Okay, you have to have desire. You have to have passion for what you're doing to be good at fishing and make a profession out of it. And you have to have desire and passion to be good as an InfoSec professional, to be good as a security analyst. Now, the problem when you're researching and putting together this kind of talk, when you go to Google and start looking for images for desire, it doesn't end well, okay? I'd hate to see my Google profile right now. Especially when you start looking for desire in fishing or desire in InfoSec. Desire in fishing gives you stuff like this, okay? These are real images. I didn't doctor any of these things, man. I was like, what the? I gotta grab that. This, literally, I found on the same page just further down. Okay? That is the best glamour shot ever. I want a sticker of that, actually. And then this. This is just disturbing. This is disturbing. I don't know what's going on the other side of the pond, but I'm just going to let that one sit for a while for you guys. I don't know if anybody knows what Rule 34 is, but that may qualify for fishing. Anyway, so. Organized, okay? Organized, that's good looking, right? I mean, some of you may go into your closets and it may be a rat's nest, and some of you know you need to be organized, and you may have that guy who freaks out because the cable's out of whack, right? That's pretty organized. For fishermen, if any of you have been fishing or you go with a guy who's super serious about it, he's going to have a tackle bag. Everything's going to be just in the right place. Everything's going here, right? Very organized. Some of you may have gone to a con this year, or you may have shown up a con here with a bag like this, super organized. You're ready to go. It's your con bug out bag, right? This is a buddy of mine. This is what his garage looks like. A lot of boxes, all organized and labeled. It's crazy. But that's big, both industries, okay? That's why we have things like GitHub, right? We want to be organized for our code. I found something interesting too. With all that craziness that happens for fishermen when they start going like you saw those bins, how many of you have a coworker that has this many tabs open all the time? Yeah, right? I'm that guy as well. Like, I'm so visual. It's my history of, oh, I was on that yesterday. Let me go back. I just thought it was funny that I was looking for memes about too many tabs open, and I had all those tabs open, and then there was tabs of like 110 tabs open. Not sure where the sound is coming from, right? How many of you have done that? Recover, and all of a sudden you're like, 4 YouTube videos are going at once. InfoSec Professional, too many tabs. For fishermen, this is a typical deck during a tournament. Literally, these guys will have 20 rods in the boat. I usually have a dozen rods, 10 to 15, somewhere in there, but usually a dozen rods ready to go. Why? Because I never know when I need to go grab something I've been using, right? It's up, it's ready to go. All these rods are tied on for a specific purpose. There's a reason they're there, okay? Methodical. A good professional fisherman is very methodical in what they do, in their preparation, everything they do. A good InfoSec pro, very methodical in the way they approach things. They're documenting. They don't let anything get by them, okay? They keep at it. Everybody else goes home at 6, 7. They're going to hang out till 9, okay? They're patient, okay? Most fishermen are very patient. They have to be. Sometimes they can go hours without a bite. If you want to catch a bad guy or you want to find out what's been going on in your network, sometimes you got to be patient. Otherwise, you go crazy. Okay? You have to be able to adapt in both of the industries. Adaptability is key. You never know what's going to roll in with the weather, the water change. The next day, it could be flooded out. You got to be able to adapt because you may have to work on a Mac, Linux box, Windows 10. You may have to go back and work on a Windows 9X. I don't know. Never know what you'll find, okay? You have to be curious in both of these industries. Curiosity is pretty much a necessity. If you're not curious about it, you're really not going to enjoy your job. And that would be for everything else. And let me explain that. This photo is curious to me. First off, I've always thought it'd be fun to do something like this, fishing like a weird pothole. But I really love the kid looking down, and he's like the only one out of the photo going, what are we doing here, right? Everybody else is like excited to be there, and the kid's like, what? And then I thought it was curious, what is in that giant bobber / cooler? Yeah. For a fisherman like myself, I'll drive by a pond like this. Many of you will see something like this, maybe driving out through the countryside, and I wonder what kind of fish live there, right? That's the curiousness of it. I want to go find out what kind of fish live there. For some of you, you may get a new product like this, and you're going to see some net flow data or some of the data, and you're going to be very curious as to what are creating all of those gray bars? What's creating the points? We're back to points, right? You have a curious tick. It itches your brain. Another point, a curiousness. This is a count of requests by link for DNS traffic, okay? So this is the amount of letters in a DNS traffic. Well, you look at the norm there between 31 and 41, kind of interesting, but from 41 to 49, I wonder what those are. From 13 back to 5, I wonder what those are. That's where I would look. I'm curious, okay? This is from one of our products at Risk Analytics. Very curious, and I kind of helped talk about this. The initial giant point on the 18th of September there, it's the initial infection, okay? There's a bot command and control. There's a call out to it. And you can see every day when they come back into work, that blue bar coming up, okay? So during business hours, that thing's calling home. Help them resolve the incident, and boom, drops off. 30th of September, traffic's gone. So curiousness, you got to understand, you got to be able to work it. You got to help them find it, okay? You got to find out why in the world did they spell malware the way they spelled it, right? Maybe you want to dig into that, okay? This is funny, back to curiousness. As I'm doing this research for this talk, I found out that there is actually a thing called squirrel fishing. And if you're curious, you'll go look it up. I'm not joking with you. This is like a big thing in the UK and here in the United States. They actually tie a peanut to some line, put it on a stick, and they fish for squirrels. And it's the big thing is to catch them. Anyway, I'm taking you off the deal, right? This maybe doesn't apply here because it's not a big drinking crowd, but most security conferences, it is a big drinking crowd, so coolers are usually necessary. So I threw that in just because I thought, that'll apply to some people. And, maybe at some of the bigger cons, they'll get a sponsorship because Yeti, which I thought this was kind of funny that somebody's poking fun at the cost of these coolers, a lot of these guys sponsor some of these fishing events. And, here you go. Challenge issue. Let's see if the challenge is accepted, right? Can you get a cooler sponsor for one of the next major cons, okay? So, mistakes will happen in both industries. As a fisherman, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, much like these guys. As an InfoSec pro, you're going to make mistakes that, man, you wish you never did. It may cost you your job, okay? And I don't think that's Batman, right? This was clearly something that happened that we saw a lot of mistakes, either by Sony, their culture, how they found out about this. But there was a company in the industry that made a huge mistake by trying to point this to somebody inside, right? They made a mistake. They went on TV, touted about it, and they kind of had to eat their words. This was a cameraman on one of the shows. He made a mistake. He got too close while he's filming. Ended up getting a couple trouble hooks in his arm. He seems so pretty happy, though. That's clearly a mistake you don't want to make. Some called this a mistake. This is yours truly with his obligatory DEF CON mohawk and the person that did that to me. So it was fun, right? I did get a lot of crazy looks on the way home. The people next to me did not want to take my photo in the plane, but it was kind of interesting. But yeah, you got to do it one time, right? I did, however, make it a message. You know, I put the Autism Speaks puzzle on the back there. I put my son's name on the side. His name's Fisher. You know, appropriate, right? Was it a mistake? I don't know. So you may be saying, cool story, bro. What in the world does this have to do with things, right? You're just going on and on and on. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to make it fun. We're going to go in. How did I get to this? How did I get to where I'm going to compare, you know, fishing with InfoSec? Okay? Fish or cut bait. Let's go. Get on with it. So, last year's DEF CON, I attend DEF CON, and I'm inspired to go ahead and submit a talk idea for a local competition that we have through one of our, you guys have Utah Sec out here? We have what's called Sec KC in Kansas City. And we meet. And so they had a deal where they would accept talks if it was 15 minutes and you showed how you hacked some device and it had to be a live demo. But here's the thing, it had to be exactly 15 minutes. Otherwise you were deducted points, all these things. So I'm like, okay, I got a talk idea. I'm going to submit it to Sec KC. Okay? That's our logo. So, Sec KC, they accept it. Woohoo! I got a Chromebook just for the fact that they accepted it. I got the same talk admitted to B-Sides, they accepted it. DEF CON let me talk at the Wall of Sheep area, and then I'm here at Utah Saint. So it's turned into this amazing opportunity for me to talk about what I love, InfoSec, fishing, and then also what led to it. In fact, there's a goon, if you're familiar with DEF CON, who loved my talk so much when I gave it locally after DEF CON that he gave me one of the DEF CON speaker badges. He's like, dude, that was a fun talk. You should have got one of these. So that was an honor to me. Okay? Let's get back to what we're doing. Fishing. What does fishing have to do with this? Well, I wanted to hack my fish finder. This is a Lowrance fish finder, one of the original flashers. Okay? So the idea I got was, what if I hacked my fish finder? And let me go into detail about that. This is another one that I'm going to give you kind of a little bit of how they grew. This is an old paper graph. It like prints an old like receipt and rolls it through. Okay, this was cutting edge like last year. I'm just kidding. This was cutting edge like 20 years ago. But here's the 8-bit graphing that happens. And once again, we go back to graphing and mapping. You know, similarities, the things that are important. Charting. Okay, this is some of you may have a sock that has this kind of graphing that shows you the activity that's going on. We come back to Bill Dance. Bill Dance says, kiss traditional sonar goodbye. And this is why I thought about hacking my device. Okay? There are gigantic units like this that cost a lot of money, but they run some incredible stuff. Okay? This is the kind of output they put out. This kind of detail, the side imaging. Okay? This is left and right side of the boat. Okay? I'll give you some more stuff here. So up above, you'll see some of that side imaging. Below, you'll see some of the fish that you're tracking. You can see some of the you know, up on the side here, some of these fish. So here you can see some stuff that's discarded on the bottom, some of the detail. It's pretty amazing compared to the old 8-bit imaging or that paper graph, right? Here you get a side-by-side shot of some of the detail that some of these units put out. You know this, I don't know if anybody can tell what that is there. Dude, where's my car? Your car's right here, right? Okay, these units have helped solve a lot of cold cases. This is actually something that happened in March. It's actually a guy in my local bass club found this car at a local reservoir, and it was a cold case from the 70s. And they drug this car up out of the lake. They've been looking, the poor family's been looking for this guy forever. Didn't know where he disappeared to. So these units are doing a lot of crazy things, right? Right now, the sonar technology, what they've done is they've adapted some of the other stuff that would find, people who've drowned. That's actually they put a dog cage down there to find it easier, but that was a body that they found, and some of that. So this is that higher end technology is now put in these little tiny units. And this was stuff that was costing sheriff's departments and stuff like $30,000 to $100,000. Now you can pick it up for a couple thousand. Okay, so this requires a lot of networking. This is actually what some of these boats look like. There's a lot of cabling. They actually use Ethernet, and I'll get into some of that. So this is a device that allows the unit here, like here on the table, to connect over Wi-Fi. So this is a wireless access point for fish finders. And this is where I kind of got the idea. Wait a minute, they have Wi-Fi on fish finders? Oh, that's got to be hackable. That's the first thing I thought of. So this is the little proprietary Ethernet cable. This joker cost $50. And I had to cut it in half and tear it apart. That was not a fun day because I was like, oh man, if I break this. And it has a proprietary end because it's got to be waterproof, right? And for those of you interested in this, I had to put this in because I want to have some technical stuff in the slide. It uses just two pair here. And I found out why it's a little bit more expensive. Of course, the proprietariness, the fact that they can get away with charging it because you can't get it anywhere else. But it's a shielded cable, okay? It's shielded. This is the pinout for it. Found that out through the research. I built my cable. That's what my cable looked like now. I had two of these. If any of you want to build and do stuff, I can come back afterwards. I want to show this. Remember the old TP-Link? Some of you may have these at home. You can add this to your boat and hook up, make it an access point for some of your stuff just with the cabling there. But I digress. I'll move on. So back to the access point. What's the first thing I think of when I get the access point up? Oh man, I got to start Nmap, figure out what this thing's doing, right? What port stands out to you guys? Telnet does. But port 80, right? Why would it need port 80? Well, because it has an administration panel, right? Who can guess what the username would be? Admin. Password? Admin, right? Yes, we're in! They don't really give you this documentation. So you get in, you can go find it online, do stuff like that. But so this is what it looks like inside. You can get some of the information. It's an embedded switch, software on all your information, the operation mode. It can be a bridge or a gateway. Some of your settings. Hey, look, there's your passphrase. Okay, so if this is already up, maybe you can hop on, do that. But how are you going to get that? Well, shoot, they just put that down on the bottom. See that? Every one of these units has the password listed on a sticker. Clearly an issue. We all know that from our routers, our cable modems, things like that, right? But what is the key here on that password? Anybody point out one of the issues there, even if you couldn't see that? It's only upper and numbers. Not very complex, okay? So, could I social engineer my way onto a boat, my buddy's fishing boat, into the store, crack open all of them, look at them, take pictures of them, right? Could I figure out what the Wi-Fi password is? Probably. How would I obtain the password another way? Because I want to see where these guys fish, right? Do they have these on their boats? I'm curious. We talked about that. I mean, I want to. Why does this fisherman stay in that bay the whole time? Why does he stay on that point? How many of you here have been fishing, and you're out there fishing, and you see a boat that's like camped out on a point? Can anyone feel that same pain? You're like, man, I wonder why they haven't left. They keep catching fish. What's below them, right? Well, we're going to get to that. So to kind of shorten up my talk, I was going to demo this, but I'm just going to go through. I threw some slides in about this. So all of you, I hope, have tested a way to dump. Okay, so you can dump the Wi-Fi signals out there. You can use arrow dump. And when you use arrow dump, you're going to go ahead and grab it. And you can see right here is Go Free Wi-Fi 59A3. All of them follow that same standard, okay? The MAC address ends with 59A3, so every one of the Go Free signals are Go Free Wi-Fi and the last four of the MAC, okay? I'm going to arrow dump that, going to get it, going to go through, and these are the things you shouldn't be doing to someone else, but I have permission because it's my unit, right? And I'm going to send the DOS because I want to get that handshake. When I get the handshake, I'm going to do an air crack, and when I crack it, boom, key is found, okay? This is the key to my Wi-Fi. I'm going to move it before some of you jokers take it and mess with me. Where was I? I was at Wall of Sheep, and this was not good. Because at DEF CON, I could not do my presentation. I was getting attacked. But here's the fun thing about it. This Lowrance app is in the iPhone store, or it's in the Android store. And you get this Lowrance app, and you can now take your phone and some other device, and you can hook up to the Wi-Fi of your Gopher unit, and you can see what's going on. So my display there, I have it here. Now imagine if you had the ability to use your iPad. This is what they wanted to do, tablets. Maybe you converted a fishing pole like this. And you're out there fishing next to a guy, and you're wondering, what's on that point? What's the guy doing? Well, I'm going to hook into his Wi-Fi. I'm going to see what's below his screen. Okay? Or instead of war driving, you did sonar driving. You drove around the lake, collected all of those IDs, started sending deauth packets, and then you got a bunch of stuff that you can crack after the fact, right? You could have some fun with this, maybe. A little water Wi-Fi pineapple, right? I want to spark some interest here. So the next thing I did is I started running some network sniffing to see what's going on here. What do the PCAPs tell me? And I found out that there's a thing on here called GStreamer, and it's a streaming server. But what is this other address? This 192.168.0.10 on here, but on mine it's different now. The screen mirror. Well, the unit itself, that was the IP for the actual unit. So then I nmapped the unit. Whoa, look at all this stuff that's open. And again, we have a port 80. What's the port 80? The port 80 is the ability to download a USR file or upload a USR file. Who here is familiar with the Lowrance USR file? Okay, I'm going to educate you. Every one of the fishermen who are in a tournament at a major bass event, Bass likes to tell everybody who follows them, hey, your favorite angler, Boyd Duckett, he's here. They basically have every person in the boat has a tracker, a cell phone, that has the information about the user, and wherever they go on the lake, it tells you where they're at. Well, if you're some crazy fanatic fan and you want to know what's on their stuff, you could just go use this. But you could see what's under their display, right? I showed you. You just hook your cell phone up to it. What if you wanted to do more? Okay? What if you figured out the ultimate issue with these units? There it is. Waypoints. Waypoints. What are waypoints to a fisherman? What are waypoints to a fish finder? Okay? They're a big deal. They're kind of a big deal, and let me explain why. Waypoints, if they're taken, would be like taking Moxie Marlin Spike's code repo. Okay? It'd be like taking this guy's recipe book. These are the things that make them who they are. Give them that edge, right? It's the kiss of death. We're back to fishing porn. So, the kiss of death. Why is it the kiss of death? I'm going to explain. Let me make sure all this is set up. I'm going to go through a fun little demo here. In the meantime, I need to plug in this jack because I'm going to show you a fun little commercial while I make sure this goes of my life before fishing. Oh, did it not go? Oh, well, I had a fun little demo there. There was a cheesy commercial like on the Oxygen Network style late at night of me at the dealership, but looks like it didn't take. So let me go through here and show you kind of how you can do something similar there where you can take waypoints and what you want to do. So does anybody have a Lowrance fish finder at home? Does anybody fish? Are they that serious into fishing as well? I always want to find other fishing buddies when I visit. Yeah, there we go. We got one in the crowd. So I'm hooked up to the network now. I got this Wi-Fi unit right here, and this is a Gen 2 unit, meaning it didn't have Wi-Fi built into it. Gen 3s, the Wi-Fi is actually part of the unit. And let me tell you why that's scary. The Wi-Fi is on by default. Okay? It's already there. So anyone who has a newer unit, they already got Wi-Fi. At first I thought this isn't really that big a deal because, you know, who's going to buy this and hook up Wi-Fi? Well, anybody who buys a unit now has Wi-Fi. So the scope has broadened. So let's pull up the GStreamer. If it'll work, wake up network. Maybe not. There we go. So I want you to see kind of what I'm doing on the screen. So I'm using that PCAP shot you saw that had the G streamer, and we're going to full screen this so you can see. There we go. How's that look for everybody? Good, good, good. So we are actually here at Weber State University on this, and I'm going to hook up my tablet, which is what this was built for, so that people can control their unit from their tablet. And I'm going to show you how my tablet is working, because you should see that move now. So my tablet is actually, and you can see over on the screen as well on the fish finder, it's working. You know, I can hit pages, I can go back to my chart, different things like that, right? So here's an interesting deal. If I go back to pages, and I go into my settings, and I want to go to, for example, my wireless. These are just touches, simple touches. If you went to anybody's boat where it's on, you do the same thing. And you can say wireless devices. You can see what's going on. Now, one cool thing that Lawrence did, and I have been communicating with him, so I want to make sure I explain this. You want to make sure you work with a manufacturer if you're going to do something like this. And I'm not going to reveal any kind of crazy 0 days or problems that are major issues with this. They've actually improved some of their security because of some of the stuff that they've known about. Right here you can see they say to improve the security, you should change the default password, which we know is admin, right? So they do kind of tell you that, but they don't tell you on the unit, and we're discussing the future of this. They've been really good. We've had an open dialogue. They don't come in and say, because right here you have your network key. To me, they should pop up something and say, hey, you should change your default network key, right? Because the network key that comes with it it's on the unit itself. It's easy to find. It's also not very complex, as you can see. Okay? So, just wanted to show some interesting aspects of this. So, let's go back to, let's zoom out a bit. And you can see, I know that no one except for the shrimp or the sea monkey fisherman fish in Salt Lake, in the Great Salt Lake. But let's use it for demonstration purposes for now, okay? Because it's the closest body of water. So I'm zooming out, I'm controlling my unit, you can see there's a Great Salt Lake there. Okay, so what if the fact that I could take, and let's go back really quick to here, this Lawrence, okay, the website here. So I got in, I downloaded the USR files. What if I wanted to do something even more nefarious, malicious, maybe pull a prank? Because you can upload a USR file, right? What if I want to upload my own USR file? Well, let's upload a USR file, okay? So file to upload, let's choose a file. Fishing hotspots, right? Who is not going to want to update their fishing hotspots? So let's go here, I'm going to open it, and we're going to submit it. Now, let's show you what happens. A new user data file has been uploaded to the local device. Do you want to import the file? Fishing hotspots update. Exactly, thank you. I mean, what are you going to, you're going to be out in the water and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, you're going to be like, oh, there's an update. Yeah, let's figure out what it is. So, what do? I click yes. Wait, what is that? What's going on? There's something on the Great Salt Lake. Let's go figure out what's going on here. Zoom in on it. Zoom in. What is this? SaintCon? What is this SaintCon? Right? So what you can do is you can mess with them. You can put advertisements. You can put SaintCon. You can put anything you want. So not just taking files, but you can get them to upload and do other things. Now, it's not the craziest. It's not a giant 0 day, but it gives you the idea that there's devices out there that are super powerful. And let me go into some of the details of these devices, because we are running short on time. So, next. Oh, this is what I did for DEF CON. We uploaded, did DEF CON. So, the devices, they run FTP. Something you can clearly mess with. It's clear text, you can figure out what's going on. They have the ability to contact home. Okay? If you hook it to a network connection, this is an actual screenshot from the device, okay? This is my you fail because I did terrible on my demo, but there could be vulnerabilities on this. So, what vulnerabilities could happen with a device like this? You could do some man-in-the-middle Wi-Fi, right? We talked about it. You could spoof. Just like we did there, right? I could upload some USR files that would be just off, right? Maybe they're a few miles off, okay? Buffer overflow. Maybe you could mess with the unit in some way. I could upload some other kind of file that would be a .usr that maybe could take advantage of some code. The streaming content. We can see here the type of server it is, the GStreamer, okay? What could you do with GStreamer? I don't know, that's another deal. Some of you were curious probably about the telnet. Right here, if you look, this thing is so noisy. If you hook onto the network and run a dump on it, you can see that over here on the side, it eventually dumps its information and says, hi, I'm a go free such and such. Here's my SSID, all in clear text, right? Okay. Here's the kernel.bin for the units. They're Linux devices. They're super powerful, okay? The next gen is very powerful because it renders 3D. It has BusyBox. Okay. You can grab BusyBox. Here's the versioning it has, 1.2.0.2. Okay. I wanted to know what kind it was. So there's a lot of similarities to Slackware. I did contact them, and when we had a really good open dialogue, I was nervous at first that I thought I'd get a letter from their lawyer. Basically, they're a giant corporation, Navionics, and they've been really cool. They told me a little bit more about this. I won't go into detail, but it is somewhat similar to Slackware, but they created their own little unit. I was worried about this. What about licensing? I mean, you guys are clearly using some open source stuff, and they will gladly give it to you if you want it. This is something on the unit. Can you tell me what's wrong with the shadow file? It's there. There's a root and an NOS. It's easily crackable. Here we did John the Ripper. Can anyone see how long it took to crack that? This is on an old laptop, by the way. 0.691 seconds, right? Less than a second. And we know that the password is NOS. Okay, so I talked to them about that. I talked about how it beacons home. One of the questions I submitted to them was, hi, I see that this beacons home and I can't turn it off. I can set it to 24 hours, but I can't turn it off. So can you tell me what it sends when it beacons home, once it eventually connects to a public IP? Does it send anonymous statistical metadata, right? Kind of the big, what are you tracking me with? And they said, yeah, it does, a little bit. There's some things, and they disclosed it. They were really cool about it. But this goes back to disclosing. They've been really good. In fact, kudos to them. They made me a validator, which is basically a beta tester for them. They asked me, would you like to be a validator? Would you like to help us out? Because that's really what I wanted to do. They run some amazing products. So if you're doing something like this, make sure that you work with them. Don't be a jerk. Don't give the rest of us a bad name. Work on it. So some of you may be sitting in here saying, phishing is stupid. What in the world? How did this guy even get an opportunity to be on this stage? I submitted it, okay? Phishing isn't stupid because these are not phishing devices anymore, okay? These devices have a lot of capabilities. They're very powerful devices. There's a key right here called autopilot. And this is what scared me before I talked with them, okay? You can control the whole ship. And when I say ship, there are ships that use these via autopilot. Now, I did talk to them about that, and they said, when you are on a tablet, and this I didn't get until about a month ago, we disable the ability to use autopilot from a tablet computer. So I was like, okay, whew. But really, how hard would it be to bypass it? What could you do, okay? So there's boats like this, ships like this, maybe ships like this that have some units that take advantage of some of this technology, okay? We don't want something like this to happen. The Navy has lots of drones. The military has drones. This is a drone Navy ship. This is a drone that we all know about. This is a very famous incident where $27 defeated our US military. Okay? Jamming these. So that the default, what's the default when they jam? Oh, I need to go land in a flat place, right? Right? Crazy. Our vehicles. You can get systems like AutoNet, or now they're building them in. Okay, this made news. This isn't anything cutting edge for you guys. You've been following. Hack the car, right? Airplanes. This made some big news. This guy supposedly flew a plane sideways because he could hook into their network. Planes like this, smaller planes, some of your Cessnas, other things, A company local to where I live, Garmin, this is one of their apps. Does the exact same thing that I just demoed. You can see what's going on, possibly control. Here's an actual shot of their software. Okay? So these are things that should tickle your brain and make you curious to be like, what could go wrong? Okay? Right here. This gentleman had that same thought. It's a very famous story. Diabetic, that's his insulin pump. He's like, I wonder how this works. The company tried to sue him and shut him down because he disclosed that it has huge vulnerabilities that could kill people. Somebody could take it over, put way too much insulin in, could cause a problem. Well, he's wearing one of those. Of course he's going to be upset by it. But thankfully he talked about that. He disclosed it to the company and they tried to shut him down. Okay? Many of you have these on your houses now. I know there's a big push by Rocky Mountain Power to do it out here. And where I'm at, they finally put them in. They didn't even tell us. They just, one day it was there. And then he got a bill that said, hey, by the way, we've updated. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Some of you may have this to automate your house. It's all networkable. How many here have a Nest? No one? They're pushing them. I think now when you buy certain products, Amazon's recommending, how'd you like to have a Nest as well? Okay? Wi-Fi enabled, it learns, right? It learns what you like. Okay? Somebody mess with it? I don't know. But the reason I did this talk is because what it did to me. I want you, and I need you, okay? We need you to tinker and to hack, okay? We need you to tinker and to hack. You need to come to conferences like this, and you need to go away excited because there's a lot of Internet of Things out there, and it's going to be the next frontier. Remember how bring your own devices was the big scary thing? Still is the big scary thing? Yeah, now imagine all the refrigerators or microwaves or other devices that are brought into your school systems. They're only seen as computers to the rest of the world, right? They're not just it's like using the printer to exploit your network, okay? So you got to think, what can I do? Internet of Things. I need you to hack. Hack is not a bad thing. I need you to hack. I need you to think, what could I do? What can this device cause that could be an issue, okay? I need you to hack the internet for good. This is a great talk by Karen E. This is a TED talk called Hackers Are the Internet's Immune System. They're finding and tracking things. She had a great DEF CON talk last year. Right now, there's a lot of issues around the world where it's illegal to do what I did. Like I'd be thrown in jail just to mess with this, okay? They're trying to shut a lot of that down, so no creativity allowed. This is a problem, okay? There is help. And why do I say there's help? Because back to how phishing and InfoSec are similar, this great author, Zane Grey, said, hope burns always in the heart of fishermen. And I say hope burns always in the heart of InfoSec or security analysts. Because if you don't have that hope, you don't have that faith that what you're doing is going to help, why are you doing it? So hope that's inspiring. So I want you to use your brains to be problem solvers. I don't trust words, I trust actions. I want to see you at a con next year with some kind of crazy talk about how you hacked your toaster or used your Raspberry Pi to do something or whatever, okay? But I want you to hack the Internet of Things for good and do it for good. Work with the manufacturers, work with the people, make things better, and be an agent of change, okay? Agent of change. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you coming out. That's my talk, and I want to thank people. That's me at wacbass. Please follow. Many people have helped me. These are the people. So, any questions? Anything? Yeah, you can clap, whatever you want. I got swag. And I will find you and talk to you about fishing. So, is there any questions? Anything? Nobody's sleeping, so that's a good thing. Yeah. So the question was, have you found that other manufacturers of fish finders are similar to the Lowrance? For right now, they lead the industry in some of the stuff they do. They have the Wi-Fi built in, stuff like that. You can take some other manufacturers and do something similar. They don't quite have that yet, but they will because they all follow each other. That side imaging was developed by another company. Lowrance actually pays to use that technology, so they have it. Right now, Lowrance is coming out with this awesome 3D rendering where they'll actually render everything around your boat and show you in a 3D image what it looks like underneath your boat. I mean, you're going to see that. I mean, it's amazing. And so it requires more hardware, more processing. And they have their own app store. They have an app store where you can buy new mapping, new updates. You could submit your data and your USR files. So you can go grab those at any time and put them on a new unit. The new Wi-Fi has kind of a bridging mode that allows you to pull your boat into your driveway, hook it up to your home network. So it's not just on, I mean, think of it this way. You don't have to go drive and sonar drive around a lake. Your neighbor might have one, or you could just ward drive old school style, and you're going to run into one of these units. Because if they're hooking it up to their home network, it's now accessible. You now have a port 80, you could download those USR files or see what's going on. So excellent question. Any other questions? I do have swag. I got t-shirts. I promised the young lady here in the front t-shirt because I got some lady t-shirts. They're small. I got others. For those of you who came early, I know who you are. I owe this guy one. Is everybody enjoying the con this year? Good con, yeah? It's been awesome, right? Had a great time. All right, I got to get off the stage here in a few minutes, so come on up, grab a t-shirt. Don't rush the stage, please. I only have a few. And thank you very much. I hope to talk with you later. I love talking about threat intel. So if anyone want to talk about net flow data, threat intel tracking, some malware, please do that as well. So thank you very much.